Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we're doing another Kaiju number 8 chapter review. So, today we're going to be covering chapter 22. If you want to see what we covered last time, which is 2 weeks ago in chapter 21, you can watch the video for that up there or in the description if I remember to put it down there. But the card is there so you can watch it then. Also, if you want to see the whole playlist, you can find it at the end of the video or at the end of previous video or up in the card as well. So now I'm going to go over a recap of the chapter from last time. Then we're going to go into full spoilers and do chapter 22. This was a short chapter, so I don't think the video will be very long. Then we'll talk some theories, if I can think of any. And that's it. So let's just jump into the recap. Basically, last chapter, chapter 21, which was 2 weeks ago, right before the end of the year, basically dealt with the fallout of Kafka fighting that humanoid kaiju and then fighting Hoshina. So basically, Kafka gets beat to hell. Hoshina is sulking because he couldn't get any information out of Kafka in his kaiju form. There's a kaiju investigation kind of happening because they realize that the humanoid kaiju could turn between kaiju and human, and so they had to go to the cleanup crew area where the guy was working. And then at the end of last chapter, the humanoid kaiju takes over a new person, and we see that he's basically a virus or some sort of fungus type thing, which is very interesting. Now, that was basically it. Like I said earlier, if you want to watch the full review, it's up in the card. Please do check it out. Now, chapter 22 is 19 pages long, and it actually doesn't really have that much going on. It's basically a what's it called? A transitionary chapter between whatever the first half of whatever this first section of the story was. I think we could say that this is a first arc of the story, or it's at least the second arc. I'm not exactly sure where the divisions are, but I think this would be the end of the second arc, more or less. We can call it the first mission arc, whatever. Point is, it's a transitionary chapter between the end of the last section of storytelling and into the new section of storytelling, which is pretty nice. So the chapter opens on the news. Basically, the news are talking about there being 2 kaiju that are humanoid, and that, what's it called? The kaiju that ended up showing up last is Kaiju number 9, which is interesting. Obviously, we already knew that naming conventions happen at a certain power level, and that it's basically numbered a year, basically within a span of a year. So in a year, Kaiju number 9 would not be Kaiju number 9 anymore. It'd be either neutralized or would show up again, and then I guess would get a new number. So after that, Reno is waking up, and Kikoru and Kafka are happy to see him. Obviously, they're very happy that he's alive and that he's recovering well. So he talks to them. He wants to thank Kafka, and he's happy that he's safe. Kafka head chops him. It's like, that's my line, man. I should be asking you if you're okay. Whatever. And then basically, Reno almost blows Kafka's cover because he starts thanking him for saving him and Iharu. Iharu actually is in the room as well, and he yells, "Hey man, what are you thanking him for?" And he makes up some BS excuse, which Iharu takes for granted because he is a rather gullible character, which I think is funny, and it worked for a nice little bit of comedy as well as a nice little bit of tension there at the beginning of the chapter. After that, Iharu starts talking about the kaiju saving them and how cool it was and stuff. Because at that point, Kaiju number 8 is basically a superhero, at least for Reno and Iharu. And Kafka gets this giddy smile on his face. Iharu asks him what's up, and Kikoru saves him, and she gut punches him, which is funny. And Iharu again takes the answer for granted because he's a rather gullible character. Then, 2 weeks later, at a bit of a time skip, they get discharged and they go to a welcome back party that is also kind of doubling up as a party for their first successful mission, which is pretty awesome. They have this epic feast because the character that was in charge of organizing the party, named Haruichi, I guess, I don't know how to say his name, turns out to be like super stinking rich because he's the scion of a tech company by the name of Zumu Tech, which are the people that make the JDF suits. So I like that they introduce a character, or they give more introduction or more character development to a new character. I like that a lot. It's very good because we need more characters and we need more fleshed out stories, and it's just nice to have a new one. And there's a bit of comedy there because the chefs are like crazy and they want to like prepare this epic feast for the guy and stuff, and everyone was gonna pay for it, I guess. And so when he shows up with these like crazy hella amazing Wagyu steaks, they're unsure because they're not all as rich as him, right? So good bit of comedy there. Not really anything all that important. Basically, the good bit here was the character development of Haruichi. Next, a celebration kicks off properly and everyone starts bickering and Reno is worried, but apparently he realizes that, hey, this is actually a good thing because everyone is fired up. Everyone knows what we did wrong and where we're lacking. And so it's great that everyone found the weakness because everyone is getting stronger together and everyone wants to get stronger, which is really great, right? And it's a very nice shonen kind of trope, I guess, or expectation that has been met, which is pretty good. So yeah, everyone's bickering and eventually Hoshina makes an announcement. He goes, you know, everyone pay attention, whatever. And apparently Kafka's getting promoted to general officer, which is awesome. And he's getting promoted because his findings of the Kaiju's cores or central organs or whatever helped minimize casualties a whole bunch, which is wonderful. Now Kafka is a proper member of the JDF and of the squad that he's in, because if you remember all the way in chapter 10, Kafka was only accepted as a cadet. He was not made a general officer like all the other characters that we have seen so far. So Kafka actually finally managed to pass the JDF test, and he finally managed to get to his initial goal of joining the JDF. So good for Kafka, really nice stuff. It's very nice that he finally got there, because he had this, like he had to advance a certain amount before the 3 months were up. But if he's been promoted, I think that that condition has been removed. And so Kafka is now a member of the JDF, regardless of whether he can access his power suit or not, which is wonderful. That means that Kafka is somewhat secured in his spot and that the story is going to start progressing now into a more emotionally based or psychologically based storyline dealing with Kafka's secret and it not getting out, which is wonderful. I think that's very great. I'm really excited to kind of develop that more because we've been having a lot of battle shonen-esque moments, and although I love them and I think that they're doing really good and that the manga is very well versed in doing those things, I do want the story, the main actual important plot lines, the emotional stuff, to start getting some development, because I think that those have been crawling really, really slowly. And I just want more of it. Now, that was it for the chapter. It was really short. It was really easy to read. There was nothing all that special happening. It was just a transitioning chapter, like I said earlier. So, theories-wise, well, there is one theory that I have, and it's that Kafka didn't get promoted solely for the fact that his findings were useful. I think Hoshina knows something's going on, because I think it was chapter 5 or 6, he was the guy that knew, hey, something's fishy here, what the hell's going on? And that's why he's been letting Kafka be in the JDF, even though he didn't pass the test. So I think he was promoted partially because he did a good job, but partially because Hoshina wants to ensure that Kafka stays around for as long as possible, so he slips up and he can figure out what's going on, which is a really good What was it, like a logical step for Hoshina? And it's really showing us that Hoshina takes his job very seriously because he's investigating every lead that he can or anything that feels slightly weird. So good stuff there. That's the only theory that I had. And yeah, good chapter. It was pretty easy going. Not really anything interesting. I liked it though. I enjoy the little bits of downtime that the characters get between the major plot lines and arcs and stuff. So good stuff here. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like, subscribe, and comment that below. Let me know what you thought. Thank you guys very much for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Bye.